It's the third round, I'm 2 points out of 2, and then finally playing as white. As you can see though, my opponent is non-rated. And it is actually kinda wild because this tournament is divided in groups. There are 10 groups, and I'm in the third one. They are classified based on your ratings. So being the third group means that you are higher rated than most of the players in the tournament, which means that you're not supposed to find someone who is not rated. Also, another bad thing is that if I beat him, I'm not going to gain elo points, which is pretty bad. Another bad thing is that I don't really know how good it is. So let's see what happened. First of all, I played the move e4, obviously. My opponent played e5 and I played the move knight f3, trying to get an Italian game with bishop on c4. We played knight on f6 and now bishop on c4. I starting to have troubles with the Italian game, to be fair. If they play bishop on c5, I don't really want to play the gioco pianissimo, so I play the Greco Gambit, for example, but I have double with that. So probably in the next tournament I'm going to play the Rui Lopez. I'm studying some lines. I'm still not sure, but I'm probably going to do that. Maybe not the next tournament, but after I know some lines, probably yes. So my opponent played knight on f6 instead, which allows the move knight on g5, the knight attack, which is not the frame lever. It's just the knight attack after knight on g5. The frame lever happens if after they play d5, which is basically the only move since I'm threatening to take the pawn, and we take, instead of playing the main line, which is knight on a5, they take the pawn. In a classical tournament, my opponent decided to take the pawn and go into a frame lever. Now, if they do this, they are really strong players which study theory and are meant to get into a position that I don't usually play, basically never play, because this is known to be bad for black. Or they are just kinda bad, I mean, they don't know basic theory. And after you take, you absolutely have to take the knight, and that's the frame lever. The point is that, yes, I'm losing a piece, but I have the move queen on f3. So I'm threatening to take the knight. The only move that holds is king on e6, because after that I will play knight on c3, you put in pressure, and after you defend everything, I can castle, for example, you defend the knight, I have the move d4, and for black it's pretty difficult to defend this position even though it's up a piece. But it's playable. If you know theory, it's actually playable. But instead of doing that, my opponent decided to do something else, and after this happened, he played king on e8. Now that's terrible. I don't know what to say. This is theory for beginners. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows the frame lever, I think even at 800 level probably. And so I just win a piece and I'm up a pawn. Is not only that, you just cannot castle and they play the move queen on d7. Now I have the chance to trade everything and to go into an endgame. So I decided to take queen take. And now instead of taking the queen though, I thought it was actually better to play the move queen on h5, which is a mistake. And the point is that after you play g6, I just take. Yes, it can be true. Although, first of all, you play g6, I take. You have to do king. King f7. Oh, and you cannot take because the queen is grabbed. Is it? No, it's not even that. What happens if I take? Queen take g2 and I apparently lose. Okay, fair enough, I didn't know that. Although I thought I was in a really good shape. And instead of doing that, my opponent just played king on d8, but it's not so simple because there are still queens on the board and I can win the pawn, but he's going to win the c2 pawn, so it was pretty stupid by me to not take queens. Like, let's say we go back. At this point, I just take the queen, pawn take, and that's it. We get into an endgame where he is much, much worse. This pawn strategy is horrible. I'm up a pawn, he cannot castle. Obviously, I had to do that, but for some reason, I thought this was better. I mean, I thought this was better because in my mind, I was going to win a pawn, but it's not actually true. The problem is that I really underestimated my opponent after he played all of these. And since I was going to play all the remaining games that day, my strategy was just to play really fast, don't spend any energy basically, and win the game easily. Although it's not that simple. But yeah, after this happened, I just decided to castle. The point is that if I take, you know, I have problems with this pawn. So first of all I castle, and yes, you can take the pawn, but I'm going to take on e5, and again this move wasn't the most precise. Instead of doing that, I should have just played the move d3. Because, okay, you cannot take because there is this. Okay, fair enough. I missed that. Again, I'm playing pretty fast. Which is not an excuse, I mean, I'm just dumb. And he played queen on g6. I still up a pawn, but as you can see, it's only plus 1.5 because, I mean, he's going to have a really good attack going on, so it's not going to be that simple to win. I played the move d4, just gaining space and opening the line for my bishop. Also, I'm threatening to play queens with this move, and I predicted the move bishop on d6. The point of d4 was that now, since the bishop is defending the square on g5, I can give a check. And I want to play queens. Now, he decided to play queens by himself. I decided to take. Now you just have to move the king. Okay, maybe on d7, and you want to develop the bishop this way. You have the couple of bishops, so... Okay, you have down a pawn, but you have activity, and it's going to be difficult for me to win. Instead of doing that, I just decided to play bishop on e7, which is a mistake. You are just giving away the bishop pair. So it is a bad move, and also you are played in pieces, which is not great. And after the take, there isn't even the risk to go into an opposite color bishop endgame because I don't have a bishop, as simple as that. So yeah, now I'm definitely much better, and I play the move knight c3. Obviously I want to develop pieces, maybe I have sunk that. Maybe I can play the move d5 defending the pawn, and I want to just develop rooks. He played rook on d8, attacking the pawn. Before defending it, I have an intermezzo. I can play rook on e1, check, which looks pretty logical. If you go this way or this way, you are just blocking the rook, so it doesn't look that clever. So he decided to play king on f8. And now I can defend the pawn by pushing it. Maybe it wouldn't been better to play rook a d1. Because now, since the pawn is on light square, is becoming a target for his bishop, so again, this wasn't a really clever move. You just have to play rook a d1 and you have no problems. But yeah, I play this and now just as a target. The point of a5 is actually interesting. He wants to develop the rook this way and probably to double and put more pressure on the pawn. It's not a terrible move, to be fair. Now, if you're wondering why I played rook on e4, I have a pretty good point too. So the point is that I want to give a check, and I'm also covering this important rank, so the pawn can't be pushed. And after I give the check, if you go on the e file, I'm going to give you a check with the a rook, so that was pretty clever by me. And the point is that I'm restraining the king movement even more, and I might have some checkmate bets in the future. So it wasn't a bad move at all, and I played rook on e1 with the point that if you move this rook, this is checkmate. So it makes sense. He played rook on b6. And now, I mean, I can defend the pawn, I can just play b3. Stockfish is suggesting to play rook on e7. Yeah, which makes sense. Just going in for the win, you know. But even b3 is not terrible. Although I'm not really going for the win. And I'm also allowing the move rook on g6, which is actually pretty good. I decided to play rook on e7 now. but disallow the move bishop on h3. Now I saw bishop on h3, and I thought that after this and g3 I was fine, although he has c6. After c6 he gets in. So by the way, I can't go on d1 because I have the knight. But as you can see, it's not that easy. I'm giving my opponent a lot of activity, which I really shouldn't do. But instead of doing that, he decided to play c6 now. And I played the move f3. The point of f3 is that I can run away with the king. So let's say he plays something like bishop on h3 now. After I play the move g3, or even g4. g4 actually traps the bishop. But yeah, let's say g3, I have the move king on f2, for example, so I'm not getting mated, let's say, if he gets into the first rank. But yeah, so instead of doing that, he just decided to take, and now I took the pawn. So pawn on f3 is not a pawn sacrifice, because if you take, I'm going to mate you. This was the point. So yeah, it actually was kind of a clever move by me. And he played h6. Now you can take the knight, of course. And I decided to go back on c3. Instead of doing that, I had, for example, the move rook on e5, saying. Yeah, rook on e5. To be fair, I didn't know what to play in this position. Like, I still wanted to put pressure there. But to be fair, in this case, the best strategy was to go back, say, okay, you got something, so I'm just going back and I want to defend also. I'm threatening this after rook on e5. But instead of doing that, I just wanted to keep attacking, but this actually really weakens my position, so this wasn't clever at all, and I decided to play knight on c3. Now, I'm kind of allowing the move rook on d2, but after that I can block. So this was the point of knight on c3. But yeah, he played b6 now. I don't know why, to be fair. But let's say at this point you have the move rook on c6. After rook on c6 is not easy. It's not easy at all. I have to move the knight again or to block with the rook. And I allow some bad stuff. But instead, he played b6. King on f2 with the point that I want to run away. I really don't want these bad checks. And again, if you check me now, I just block. And he played rook on c6 now, which is still a pretty good move. But now I have the move knight on e4. If you're wondering, can you block with the rook? Yes, I can block with the rook, but I'm probably going to lose a pawn. Yeah, let's say I play this. The rook gets in. It's not only that, it's also bishop on a6. So yeah, this was a bad move and I saw that. And I thought knight on e4 was better. The point is that I'm allowing the rook to get in. But I have the move king on g3 with a nasty threat. If you take the pawn, as he did in the game, he's lost. He's absolutely lost. The move that he missed is rook f7. He missed the fact that you cannot defend this. You cannot defend the pawn, and he also missed, I think, that if you push it, saying, well, you have nothing. I actually have mating too, my friend. Let's say you go this way. Oh yeah, this way is mating today. Oh yeah, because I can just give you a check before, and now it's mate. So that's bad news. He played king on h8, rook take on g7, and the only defensive move he has is this. Rook on g8. After rook on g8, well, I cannot give a check because the rook is pinned, otherwise it would be mate. So the move I can play, it is just taking. Looks dumb to play it in a position like this, but I'm actually trading with the point that I just win a full piece. After this, I win the bishop. So This endgame is absolutely, completely winning for white, but he decided to play for some more moves. Honestly, I'm not really sure why. Like, okay, I can understand maybe if you win this pawn, you have to pass pawn, but I mean, winning this pawn is not going to be that easy. So I give a check first. The point is that if you go on the 6th rank, I give you a check and I win the pawn defending this. So you don't even win a pawn, you just lose one. So you have to go back. And you should play king on f8. But he played king on h8 instead, which is a blunder, and I saw why is actually pretty simple. The king is in the corner, is blocked on this rank, so he only has this square where to go. So if you play knight on f6, doesn't even have that, and I'm just threatening to mate you. The best thing about this position is that you cannot stop mate. It's forced mate. He played rook take on g2. Don't know why. It's like playing against a cheater that turned on stockfish at last move. Yeah, he sacrificed the rook for no reason at all. He pushed the pawn and they got mated. So what can I say about this game? First of all, Stockfish is saying, I mean, on Lichess, he's saying that I played with 93% accuracy. I wouldn't say that at all. It was a pretty bad conversion. I threw the game. I mean, it's not that I really threw the game. I always had the advantage, but I threw all my advantage, to be fair. So 93% accuracy is not. It's not. It makes sense because I played quite fast. Like, so you know, we have 30 minutes and every move we play we gain 30 seconds. I started with 30 minutes obviously and I ended up I think with 35. So I blitzed pretty much everything. I spent really low energy but I risked it. So one thing I learned from this game is that you shouldn't really underestimate your opponent because yes, he really didn't know theory at all. This was beginner level theory, but he knew how to play definitely. If this guy play against a beginner, is going to destroy him. You should study theory probably, and it could be a good player definitely. But yeah, never underestimate your opponent. That's a good lesson. I'm 3 out of 3, so that's it for today, guy, and see you with the next video with the round 4.